And, maybe we'll have some insight on what to talk about next time.
What?
Hey there, everybody. My name is Logan.
And I'm Jen.
And this is Surprised by Marriage.
So we live in the 21st century, and it's very busy. There are lots of responsibilities and things to take care of, jobs, ministry, our kids and all of their extracurricular activities and sports and dancing. We don't have girls, so no dancing.
Basically, it never ends, okay?
Yes, there are so many things to do.
Never, ever ends.
Yes. And it's very easy to fill up your schedule with all of these things just because you think that's what you're supposed to do. And we just wanted to ask you a very important question.
Jen, what is that question?
Do you create space for your marriage? We feel very passionately about this because we've had to work very hard to create space for our marriage. Going back to in our early years, well, when our kids were little, Logan's schedule was kind of crazy. He worked a lot of evenings and weekends.
A lot of shift work.
Yeah, and so it was hard to make time for our marriage because he wasn't home at night once the kids were in bed kind of thing, and we didn't have that time. And even up until 4 years ago, he was working a lot of weekends, and so it made things hard. So now that he has a somewhat normal schedule, we have realized how important time for our marriage and our family is, and we do our best to preserve it. And we just wanted to share some of our guidelines, so to speak, and why we make this a priority.
Right, because we get lost in all of this busyness in life. Mm-hmm. And so I want to use this video as kind of like a compass to help us get back on track if you're watching this.
Yes. And hopefully gentle encouragement to maybe discern a few changes in your family life.
So let's talk about it.
So we wanted to share some of our guidelines when it comes to making decisions on what our family commits to at any given time. Hopefully they're helpful. Hopefully you won't think we're crazy, but maybe you will. But the first thing is, number one priority is that Sundays are for the Lord. So this doesn't always work out perfectly because we are active in ministry and everything else. But Sundays, the ideal, we do nothing. We go to church, we come home, we eat, we rest, we spend time with our family, and it is like the best thing. Ever since we started making that a priority, it's been such a blessing for our family.
Yeah, it's been a good relaxation day, which is, what God wants us to do on Sundays. And so since we have that availability within our family life and dynamics to be able to focus Sunday on that, it's made for things to be a lot better.
Yes, and we could probably do a whole video on how we make that happen because it does require some prep. The rest of the week has to have that goal in mind that Sunday we are going to rest. But we just wanted to mention that because it is a very important factor in our decision making. Mm-hmm. The second thing is that we very rarely commit to weekly commitments, like something that happens every single week on a long-term basis. So the one exception is our kids' religion classes, obviously because faith is very important to us. So they go to religion class every week during the school year. That is the exception. Right now, we are actually facilitating a 6-week marriage series at our church. But that's just 6 weeks, and then it's done. And kind of similar with our boys' sports. When they sign up for a sport, it's typically 2 months. And so it's 2 months, and then they're done, and then we have a break.
It's not one sport that goes into the next sport, that goes into 2 other sports at the same time.
And it's not a year-round sport kind of thing. We don't do any of that.
Right, and because, our kids are active in many ways, and I don't know, maybe we get in the habit of putting our kids in sports to keep them active, and we lose track of, why we're really doing it in the first place. Yeah. So that's why we space it out like that, and focus on one thing at a time.
Yeah, and then so those are the sports that take place in the evenings and the weekends. When it comes to their school activities, after school activities, we actually don't limit those because he doesn't get home until dinner time, and so they're home before him, even if they do have to stay after school. So those commitments are not an issue and aren't preventing family time because they get home still before Logan gets home from work. So we don't limit those activities.
Mm-hmm. So those are our guidelines, and now we want to share why we have those guidelines in place.
Yeah, so we love to have family dinners. And obviously the one night when the boys have religion class, it doesn't work out. That's the one night typically that we are unable to have family dinners, but most other nights the goal is to have dinner together and have that family time together.
Right, because we want to make sure that we're establishing culture for our kids as well. So when they get older and they have their own families, they can instill these things and pass it on to their generation. And
there's so much research done on the impact that family dinners can have on children. So we highly encourage you to make that a priority. So a lot of those guidelines have to do with keeping our evenings kind of available and open. And that's for two reasons. Three actually. First reason is so we can be available to host other people in our home.
And we love hosting other people in our home.
Yeah, and we did a whole video about embracing the singles in your life. So we have so many times where whether it's singles or priests, just text us last minute like, hey, what are y'all doing tonight? And we're like, come on over, because we have opened our schedule in that way to be available for them. And the second reason is so we can be available for ministry. We serve on committees at our church and we don't have meetings a whole lot, but when we do have them, we like to be available for them. And the third reason, it might be a little controversial, but it is so we can have consistent bedtime for our kids, so then we can have time together. Not to say that our kids don't go to bed late sometimes. I mean, because our oldest is almost a teenager now, so we've realized the complications that is involved with that because he stays up later. But still, we can have consistent, like you go to your room and you have quiet time, so we can have time together.
I think a lot of married couples are content in realizing I'm going to do my thing and you're going to do your thing, and we lose track of doing things together and having that time. So this is just making sure that we know where, like I said earlier, where our compass is, so that we can spend time together. I mean, and not let that creeping separateness get in the way of doing our own thing.
Yeah, and it also happens if you're busy, like bringing your kids to all these extracurricular activities every evening of the week, and then you don't have time for each other. And so that's why we make these decisions, because if you can't create space for your marriage, it can lead to a whole host of other issues.
Right, and since it's issues and we're relating issues to busy, like we once heard, busy could stand is an acronym, okay? But you didn't know that. Busy is an acronym. And to put it in the terms of this video, busy stands for?
Bound under Satan's yoke.
Right.
Because the enemy wants us to be busy, so we don't put our focus on our marriage and our family, and we're distracted by all of these other things. Not to say that a lot of these things aren't good, because we do. I mean, we are passionate about working in marriage ministry and being involved in our church, and we enjoy seeing our kids enjoy sports kind of thing. Like, we want them to be involved in things, but not to the detriment of our marriage and family life, if that makes sense.
Right. It's a lot easier to carry a plate of food that is well spaced out on your plate than one that you just came back from the buffet and you're trying to balance it to your table.
Piled high with too much food.
Yeah. Those rolls will be flying before you know it.
Yeah, so we just wanted to share what we do, because we had a friend tell us that we are an anomaly when it comes to our schedule, because we're not, running around with like crazy people, shuffling our kids to all these different things, and but we still do a lot. That being said, it doesn't mean we don't do anything at all. We are very involved in things, but we make sure we are involved in the right things at the right time. So hopefully that is helpful for y'all, and we just, consider what changes you can make to create more space for your marriage and your family.
So thank you all again for joining us here this week on this episode of Surprised by Marriage.
And we will see you next time.
There we go.